The series opens with a mysterious man, Rishi Megari, falling off a horse and drifting into memories of a girl, Vanessa. The scene then transitions to Detective Catherine Donovan, who is on a date with a gym enthusiast. She seems content, and just as the couple is about to kiss, Kat gets a call from her friends. Her friends tease her for canceling their girls' dinner for a date. Suddenly, Kat hears a commotion and discovers the chef fighting with a colleague. The chef injures his coworker and lashes out at his wife for infidelity. Kat intervenes and tries to de-escalate the situation, but the chef charges at her. Thinking quickly, Kat overpowers him and orders someone to call the police. The next day at her office, Kat learns that Rishi Megari has been missing for over a week. She receives more details about the case. Meanwhile, Officer Stagger introduces Charlie, the new digital analyst, to Kat and asks her to mentor him. While Kat steps aside to grab tea, Charlie runs a background check on his boss and discovers that Kat's father, Clint Donovan, was also a detective who died in the line of duty. Kat catches him reading an article about her father's death, and Charlie feels embarrassed and apologetic. Nia informs Kat of a lead related to Rishi's car, and the team sets out to investigate. They eventually locate the car. Finding it locked, Mia prepares to call forensics, but Charlie, being tech-savvy, bypasses the car's security and unlocks it. Upon inspecting the trunk, they find nothing but an umbrella. Meanwhile, Rishi is seen wandering aimlessly, lost and directionless. Kat meets her friend Stacy, who is upset over a date Kat didn't want to attend. Stacy signs Kat up for a dating app called Melody Cupid, suggesting she finds someone with similar musical tastes. Later at home, Kat checks the app and discovers a match with a man named Josh. Seeing his photos stirs memories, and she recalls her happy moments with him. Kat immediately calls Stacy to tell her about Josh. From their conversation, it is revealed that Josh is Kat's ex-fiancé, who ghosted her after her father's death. While Kat is thrilled to see him again after 11 years, Stacy advises her to let go of the past and move forward. Kat then meets Aqua and informs her about Josh's reappearance in her life. Aqua is shocked to see Josh's picture, but before they can discuss further, Stagger calls Kat for a meeting. He reveals that her father's killer, Monty Leburn, is suffering from terminal cancer. Kat insists on meeting Leburn to uncover why he murdered her father on Callaghan's orders, but Stagger dismisses her request and tells her to go home. On her way out, Kat notices her father's picture hanging in the station and is overcome with memories of his funeral. Instead of heading home, Kat visits her mother, Odette, who is socializing with friends. Odette's friends tease Kat for being single and caution her about meeting people online. One of them even suggests she meet her nephew, but Kat brushes off the idea. After the friends leave, Kat discusses Leburn's cancer with her mother, who expresses satisfaction at the idea of him dying painfully. When Kat mentions wanting to meet Leburn, Odette advises against it, insisting it won't bring her father back. Kat then tells her mother about Josh and the dating app. When Odette asks what she plans to do, Kat seems uncertain and conflicted. Outside, Kat receives a call from Charlie, who informs her that he has accessed Rishi's email and discovered his interest in a cottage near the location where his car was found. Kat commends Charlie for his work and asks him to keep her updated. Later, Kat meets Stacy again and shares her thoughts about Leburn. She finds it odd that Leburn confessed so quickly to killing her father, especially since he was already convicted for 2 other murders. Kat mentions that she has tried numerous times to meet Leburn but has never been granted access. Stacy suggests going off the record and mentions knowing someone who works at the prison. When Stacy asks about Josh, Kat admits she accepted his match and is waiting for him to do the same. However, Stacy reminds her of how Josh abandoned her during one of the darkest periods of her life. The next morning, Josh accepts Kat's match. While heading to the office, Kat sends him a message. At work, Charlie updates her, revealing he tracked down the owner of the cottage and confirmed that Rishi had rented a room there. Meanwhile, Rishi is seen wandering along a road when a mysterious man approaches and knocks him unconscious. Kat arrives at Rishi's rented room, where Nia is already investigating. Together, they search for clues and discover that Rishi had rented the room for 2 people. However, neighbors claim he was alone, suggesting that someone was supposed to meet him. As they continue their search, Kat receives a text from Stacy, who says she can arrange for Kat to meet Leburn. Kat quickly leaves, instructing Nia to keep her informed. Kat meets Stacy, who is busy handling her private investigator work, and waits as Stacy deals with her current client. Once free, Stacy informs Kat about Tamsin, a client who works at the prison and is willing to arrange a meeting with Leburn. In return, Tamsin requests Stacy's premium services to investigate her husband's loyalty. Kat meets Tamsin, who sneaks her into the prison. However, Leburn's caretaker initially refuses to allow any visitors. Kat introduces herself and reveals that Leburn killed her father. Upon hearing this, the elderly caretaker relents. When Leburn sees Kat, he taunts her, asking if she wants to know how her father looked as he died or how he begged for his life. Despite being visibly shaken, Kat gathers her strength and asks Lebaron why he killed her father. He refuses to disclose the truth, dismissing her pleas. As Kat continues to press him, the caretaker intervenes. She explains that she was once a midwife and used a combination of morphine and scopolamine to help women relieve labor pain. However, the combination often made patients euphoric and prone to revealing their deepest secrets. She injects the same mixture into Lebaron, who quickly succumbs to its effects and mistakes Kat for his sister, Angie. Overcome with emotion, Lebaron becomes reflective and mentions his impending death. Kat seizes the moment and questions him again about her father's murder. This time, Lebaron admits that he didn't kill Clint. He confesses that he took the blame as part of a deal, agreeing to sell the lie in exchange for money because he was already serving a life sentence. Kat is left in shock. She demands to know who struck the deal with him, but before he can answer, Lebaron loses consciousness. Later, Stacy contacts Kat and reveals that she has investigated Lebaron's prison records. To Kat's disbelief, Stacy discovered that Josh visited Lebaron on the night of her father's murder, and then disappeared. Meanwhile, Rishi is shown being held captive on a farm. Kat receives a cryptic message from Josh, telling her they shouldn't talk. He then mutes their chat, leaving her confused. Next, we see a dog breeder, Titus, attempting to give one of his dogs up for adoption to a family. The wife seems excited about the adoption, but Titus slyly reveals to her husband that she has been having an affair with their neighbor. He then refuses to proceed with the adoption, stating that his dogs deserve a stable family environment. Meanwhile, Kat arrives at Stagger's house and informs him that everything surrounding her father's murder was fabricated. She explains that Lebaron was the perfect scapegoat since he was already serving time for 2 murders. Stagger feigns ignorance until Kat mentions her secret meeting with Lebaron. Outside, Kat enlists Stacy's help in finding Josh. Back at her house, Kat reminisces about how happy Josh and her father, Clint, were together. Kat later meets Aqua and shares her discovery about Josh meeting Lebaron the night before he disappeared from her life. She asks Aqua if she knows anything about the meeting, but Aqua claims complete ignorance. Kat then records a public message about Rishi's disappearance, appealing for help in locating him. Meanwhile, one of Titus's henchmen forces Rishi to change his clothes before escorting him to meet Titus. Rishi demands to know why he's being held captive, and Titus responds by showing him CCTV footage of Vanessa, threatening to harm her if Rishi disobeys. Back at the station, Charlie informs Kat that they have recovered Rishi's laptop and that he will begin analyzing it soon. Shortly after, Nia arrives and tells Kat that a boy has come forward and insists on speaking with her directly. Kat meets a 19-year-old boy who introduces himself as Brendan. When asked why he wanted to see her, Brendan explains that his mother is missing. He says she went to Costa Rica with her boyfriend but hasn't called him since, which is unusual. Kat seems skeptical, but Brendan uses her father's death as a parallel, expressing how much he loves his mother and is certain something is wrong. Before Kat can question him further, she gets summoned for another matter and asks Brendan to wait. Charlie has accessed Rishi's laptop and discovered a phone number of a girl who had been in contact with Rishi. Kat tries calling the number, but it goes straight to voicemail. She instructs Charlie to keep investigating. However, by the time she returns to her office, Brendan is already gone. Meanwhile, Titus confronts Rishi and forces him to transfer 25,000 euros to a specific account, promising freedom after a few more calls. The next day, Stagger calls Kat to his office and breaks the news of Lebaron's death. Kat is furious, blaming him for preventing her from seeing Lebaron, as she believes that one meeting could have uncovered the truth about her father's murder. Stagger reassures her that Lebaron's confession to her was a fabrication and advises her to take some time off work. Kat goes to see her mother and finds her celebrating with friends. Odette explains that her friend, Flo, has passed her Viva and officially become a doctor. Later, Odette and Kat have a private conversation where Odette reveals she already knew about Lebaron's death and expresses relief that he's gone. She then questions Kat about Josh and advises her that it isn't always necessary to uncover every detail about the people we love. Kat returns home to find her belongings scattered across the floor. Upon investigating, she discovers Brendan has broken into her house. Brendan bolts, but Kat chases him down and corners him. Brendan reveals he was searching for information about his mother. He then shows Kat a picture of Josh, explaining that Josh is the man his mother had been dating. He also mentions that he knows Kat recently reached out to Josh via a dating app. Brendan doesn't trust Josh and insists he's trouble, urging Kat to arrest him. Kat refuses, explaining she doesn't have enough evidence to take action. The next morning, Kat sees news of Lebaron's death and reflects on their last conversation. She later meets Stacy, seeking more information about Josh. Stacy informs her that Josh has completely wiped his online presence, with Kat's dating app interaction being the only trace of him left. Stacy finds this unusual, but Kat defends Josh, insisting he isn't capable of betrayal. Kat then tells Stacy about Josh's connection to Brendan's mother and asks her to investigate further. Later, Kat finds herself staring at a picture of Callaghan when Carl joins her. He shares a childhood story about Callaghan, revealing that he was bullied for wetting himself at school. Shortly after, Brendan contacts Kat with new information. He discovered unusual withdrawals from his mother's bank account and suspects foul play. He asks Kat to check the CCTV footage from the ATM to find clues. Kat enlists Charlie to retrieve the footage. Meanwhile, Kat receives a message from Stacy, urging her to meet Tasman, who claims to recognize Josh. Kat meets Tasman, who reveals she doesn't know much about what transpired between Josh and Leburn. However, she mentions that someone from Kat's station likely does. Tasman adds that Stagger accompanied Josh during his visit to Leburn. Determined, Kat rushes to the station, only to discover that Stagger is attending Carl's retirement party. She heads to the party and spots Stagger praising Carl's years of service. Not wanting to interrupt, she waits for him to finish. Meanwhile, Titus attempts to access Rishi's bank account but finds it blocked. Frustrated, he concludes that the police must be onto something. Enraged, he orders his henchman to deal with Rishi. The henchman confronts Rishi, but Rishi, having freed himself, attacks and knocks him out. Rishi desperately searches for an escape route but finds the main door locked. As he tries an alternative way out, the henchman regains consciousness and overpowers him. Back at the party, Stagger tries to leave the venue, but Kat intercepts him, demanding answers about why he hid his last visit to Leburn. Stagger reluctantly confesses, explaining that he went to see Leburn under pressure from Josh's boss, who was looking for a story. He admits he hoped Leburn might reveal something about Clint's death but insists the visit was futile. Kat, furious, accuses Stagger of keeping critical information from her. Before the tension escalates, a passing man distracts Stagger. Regaining his composure, Stagger turns on Kat, chastising her for not using proper channels to investigate Leburn. He suggests she take some time off to avoid jeopardizing her career. Meanwhile, Charlie retrieves ATM footage of Dana, and Nia confirms her identity using online resources. Simultaneously, Stacy contacts an unknown individual, cryptically stating they need to tell Kat everything, heightening the suspense. Later, Stagger is seen standing in front of a mirror, recalling the act of cleaning blood from his clothes. Elsewhere, Titus's henchman murders Rishi and burns his body to destroy the evidence. The episode concludes with a somber scene at Leburn's funeral. A mysterious man in a suit stands silently by the grave, watching intently.